Yes, guys, welcome back to the Unprofessional Footballer Podcast, episode 33. Today is an extra special one. As you can see from the settings behind us, we've got a specific set in mind, and we've got a lovely gentleman named Rohan joining us today.
Hey,
Rohan, this is your home, right?
It is.
Tell us about the Oasis. That's what we're here to talk about today.
Well, it's quite a long story. It's really isn't an oasis where everyone comes to, find something to do and hang out. And it's grown like very, very much over the years.
Yeah. So take us back to when you were younger.
Sure.
Have you had this in your family since you were a kid?
Yeah. So my family actually moved here when I was 1.
Okay.
And I always found that I was a little bit of maybe an other.
Yeah.
Kind of trying to find my group. Not necessarily in with the in group or even in with the out group.
Yeah.
So I had to find my own way. And part of that finding my way was through sports.
What sports did you play growing up?
Oh, growing up, I played everything. Marbles, cricket, football, paddle. We played on the beach, long hours, swimming. Pretty much if it was a sport, I tried my hand at it.
And what was your favourites growing up?
I think cricket.
Yeah.
I played so much cricket.
Cricket is the main sport here.
It is. It's our national sport, and even everyone that plays football also plays cricket.
So for the guys at home wondering where we are in this tropical paradise, we're in Barbados. And as Rohan was saying there, it always strikes me as strange. It's not necessarily a country from the outside that you would look in and think is cricket mad.
Oh, it is.
But yeah, like what is the team is the West Indies, right?
West Indies team. So it's made up of cricketers from across the region. But Barbados has a long history of excellent cricketers.
Yeah.
That's kind of where it started for me, was playing sports as a kid. And what I found was that I gravitated towards organizing.
Yeah.
Being the person that brought the ball, the bibs, setting the times, the locations, and being like, hey guys, let's meet here.
Yeah.
Let's play this sport, etc. And that's kind of where this all started.
I was always that kid, when people used to play like FIFA.
Sure.
I used to like Football Manager. I used to being the manager of it and doing all the managerial things instead of actually playing. So I'm guessing that's probably something similar to you in terms of the enjoyment of organising. Sure. And the whole back end of side of things. Yeah,
I think really play is kind of ordered chaos, and it needs a layer of organisation for it to really get to the competitive level.
I think as well, when I organise games, I like to ensure teams are balanced. I like to ensure the level is consistent. There's nothing worse than you have 9 great players and 1 really bad player, and then suddenly every team that gets that 1 bad player, they're like looking at you like, why is he on my team? Why is he on my team?
Yeah, no, that's funny you say that. It was a bit of that caused this. So growing up, I was much more cricket heavy in my sports. But then around teenage years, I got into football. And when we started what we call scrimmaging, it was very disorganized. So you would find sometimes you might have like 11 versus 8, and people would all be wearing different colored shirts. And you would just show up and join a game, and you'd be like tackling your teammates. Yeah. And it was a little bit chaotic. And so what I started doing was I just said, like, look, guys, we're going to do 5-on-5. Everyone has to bring 2 colored shirts, a dark and a white shirt. People have to wear shoes. You got to be on time. There's like a 10-minute grace period, and then we get going, rolling subs. Yeah. So I started with these metrics, and I got a lot of pushback. Like people were very resistant to change.
They really don't like change.
And I just reminded them, man, like, if you guys want to progress, like this is going to be a requirement going forward. And it took maybe 4 or 5 years for it to kind of set in. And at that time, we would just play at the various pastures across the island in any free car park we could find. We used to sneak into some facilities after dark and just get it going. Like, for those who know, they would know about the Less Frills run, which was like a supermarket in Rotondo. Yeah. And we'd all meet up there about midnight and play till the sun comes up.
Proper street football.
Yeah.
Do you know, I think that's one of the things the new generation has really lost.
They've lacked it, yeah.
And you see it in the way the players are nowadays. The expressionism of players is so rigid and like unexpressive, whereas it was always in the streets that you learned how to take people on, how to be a 1v1 player, and the excitement of the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I learned my football. I remember there was a friend of mine called Damon, and we played, I think, every single day for an entire summer. And every single day he'd teach me a new dribble.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, okay, this is how I'm going to beat you. And I would go home and analyze that in my head. Like, oh, no, he's not going to get me this. I got to learn that. Yeah. And we would play. Everyone would know the gymnasium scrimmages, like back in, 2005, 2008. We would play pretty much all night long. There was no time. It was just play. And people would come out from different neighborhoods. People would have certain derbies, and it was good times.
It's almost like bringing back that schoolyard feel.
100%.
Of like when you'd have like the year groups playing against 100%. Each other, but now you've got out of town people coming in from different towns playing against each other. It's actually quite similar. My friend that's from Warri, Nigeria, when we were playing in Malta, he was telling me about how in Nigeria it's very similar as well. They have the street leagues, which as a kid it's your neighbourhood. We play as a neighbourhood, and you would get challenges from other neighbourhoods, and again it was just street football and in its purest form, and that's how the players developed and got noticed.
I think that's the way to go. Like sport, there's levels, like as with everything, and if you haven't properly developed your passion for the sport in that kind of lower tier format, it's hard then to put the energy and effort in required when you get to the more organized level, which is a lot more structured, and I would argue a little less fun.
Yeah.
And so, that was kind of my genesis, where I said, like, look, I'm focusing on fun football. I want people to come out, have a good time, be a bit organized.
Yeah.
But then, we fixate on bragging rights, and, people have their internal statistics and trackers and, descriptions of what happened that may or may not be true. But it really, you become a local legend. People remember certain dribbles,
reputations, and those moments that stick out and become the talk of the town for however long.
Correct.
Like that filthy nutmeg that someone does on someone, they never get let down.
You'll never forget it. So that was kind of it, and then we reached a point in about 2015 where we were unable to use the local pastures, and we were unable to find a spot. In fact, we kind of were like nomads for a bit, where we would play at a location until we got kicked out.
Yeah.
And we would just consistently getting kicked out, unable to access lights. And it kind of reached a breaking point where I was like, you know what? I think we need to build our own space. And that's when we kind of started this project. We called it Find The Oasis. And it was really a call out there to anyone interested in playing sport or being around sport to come find us. And it was funny because the first step we did was we put some big lights up. And from the moment those lights turned on, it was like moths to the flame. Full, people just started coming out of the woodworks. We had a Wednesday night beat-off game that was intense.
Yeah.
Guys would be out strategizing all week as to how they were going to, tackle this team, et cetera, et cetera. And it really kicked off from 2015.
It's amazing though, like you say, how recent, obviously, like the development is of this. Like looking in, you'd think it had been a part of the community for years beyond that. The way you turn up on a Sunday and it's just full from start to finish. Every evening it's full. You've got people coming in just to watch and have a beer and chill out while everyone else plays. The community you've built here really is like a testament to the hard work that you guys have put in.
Thank you, man.
Over the years.
Yeah, it wells me every time as well, because like I think being in it and putting in the number of hours that I put, like I sometimes forget that like they compound.
Yeah.
And when this project got going, I think I worked every single day for 5 years. That included Christmas, that included New Year's, it included the day I got engaged to my wife. It included like every major event was around football and the organizing of it. And I think really putting in that effort over time, it kind of became this thing bigger than myself.
Yeah.
And I always tell everyone that comes up here, like, this was never my thing. This idea flew through me, but it came from all of you, and it came from everyone showing up and everyone, being part of it. and lending their energy to the project. Like a lot of the stuff that was built was volunteers and people helping out where they can.
I think that only adds to that community feel though, because it does develop that family-like bond where you know everyone's blood, sweat and tears is 100%. Out there, whether it's players, whether it's, like you said, the volunteers helping build it. Everyone feels like they've got a part of it.
It's by us, for us.
Exactly. And that really does speak to that community of football that have been waiting for somewhere that they could call home.
100%.
Before you had the facility, what were the general facilities like in Barbados? Was there many football grounds at all, or is it all behind, let's say, the paywalls of football clubs?
Not even that. So all the pastures on the island have cricket pitches in the middle of them. All the infrastructure is cricket centric. And so what you would find is that, like, you know, there was no football facilities. And then there was one built at a university, but to access it was just not for the average person. It was more for the professionals. And so there was no way for people to get introduced to play. Like I said, like I didn't grow up being an excellent footballer, but I had the opportunity to play every day until I got better, until I was able to work on my touch, until I was able to weight my passes. And, you know, like if I have to pay $400 every time I want to do that or work on that, it's impossible. So
that's a big argument that's currently happening in Malta, which is the island I use a lot of comparisons for when it comes to football here and football over there. The struggle they have is there's no green spaces. There's no public places for them to actually go and play sports, play outside. It's so built up now and it's turning into a bit of a concrete jungle where they're turning any potential green space into flat blocks, that the only pitches that exist are the ones that are owned by the professional football teams. And they all need to make money. So they're not willing to, one, have the liability of people playing on the ground while they're not there. And two, the scheduling for the teams themselves, the scheduling for their academies. 100%. Unless you're a part of the club, you don't get to play football. And to play for the club, it costs you 300 to 400 euros per semester that you're playing there. And it just becomes this chokehold where there isn't really any spaces for kids to play. And like you said, that's where they get that time to really develop as a kid. And their technical foundations really suffer because of it. And it's...
For every problem, there's an opportunity. And I think the opportunity we have in front of us is for people to build their own oases. It doesn't have to be this grandiose, because ours didn't start like this. It doesn't have to be full-time, but you can identify spots and spaces that you could transform and create your own. And I think, like, a lot more younger people need to be saying, like, hey, it's 10 of us or 20 of us. Let's go identify the spot. No one's using it, and use it for as long as you can. And then move on.
Exactly.
And like just be proactive in like your play. I think like people don't take play serious enough, but play is like a vital part to like everything.
The thing is, it's like you mentioned, people can just go somewhere as long as you're respectful and you're not breaking rules or breaking in.
Yeah, of course.
Stand there until you get told, hey guys, don't be here anymore. Okay, fine, no worries. We'll go find somewhere else. And like you said, just perseverance. Eventually you'll find a spot that either takes you and accepts you, or you'll run out of ideas and end up building your own.
Yeah, man. Quite a journey. And I think like when I look back on it, I mean, I'd hazard like 80 to 90% of the people I know are through football. Yeah. And all my network and so it does become more than the game, more than the sport. It is my life.
Well, like you mentioned with the article I saw online, you ended up through your football network having lawyers, having structural engineers, having all these vast majority of people from every walk of life that could influence the help and help build the facility and make it what it is today. So like you're saying, take advantage of that networking opportunity and use it for your own advantage. Yeah, agreed totally. And that's kind of where we are now, and where we want to go is to continue to expand that network. And what I recognized I had the opportunity to travel, and I recognized that these little networks exist globally. Yeah. And they're all searching for each other.
they all want that connection with like, hey, you guys play in Trinidad, or you guys play in Jamaica, you guys play in New York. Why don't we come over by you?
Exactly.
Why don't you come by us and make a little league out of it?
Social network has really not been utilised enough by the football industry. It's one of those. It's still slightly growing. You've got a few people that are a bit ahead of the time that are recognising that opportunity to network past their borders and really expand circles way beyond belief that, let's face it, 20 years ago would have been impossible.
Yeah. It's a little, we're a little bit further on than the pen pals where I write you a letter. Yeah. Hello, friend. How is your 3
weeks later, you get a response.
But no, and I think that's again tying back into the problem and opportunity. Like right now, the technology available, the connectivity available to this generation, even though they have problems, they have the ability to go out and find solutions and see what others are doing and mirror it and share those ideas broadly.
Yeah.
So they actually kind of like, I couldn't have known that someone like you existed maybe even a decade ago.
I know.
And vice versa. People wouldn't have heard about us. It would have just been a friend of a friend of a friend if you knew.
I still find it amazing the chance that me and obviously you and Justin came into contact.
Yeah,
it was
for sure.
Just completely spur of the moment. One random video, I think it was, and another mutual connection.
Right.
Suddenly we started talking, and it's fast forward. I think it was a month and a half.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool, I'm coming over now. Like, I'll see you guys next week.
We must admit that when we first heard that, we thought you were kidding. And then we were like, oh, wait, he's actually here.
Yeah, that was it. I said to Alice, like, until we actually go over there,
we were like,
it's going to be one of those where you're just thinking the entire time, like,
sure, buddy.
Yeah, we'll see you when we see you. We'll see you. But again, I'm one of those people, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to find a way to make it happen. And again, I'm just in the perfect opportunity with the remote job that these opportunities really can be done. But again, like we were saying, it's just like within a month of communication, suddenly I'm on the other side of the world and here we are connecting and looking at ways that we can collaborate and make things happen again across networks and potentially open up a bigger audience for you guys across Europe. And I know you guys have big plans with what you're doing to try and expand not only across the Caribbean and then looking to maybe go further than that. So I just think it's an exciting time to be here, to be honest.
No, I agree. I think that what we've seen is that like we look at the landscape of what everyone's doing and we think there's no reason why we can't do it better or as good as.
Yeah.
Because like that is the potential that we see in front of us, is to really bring Caribbean culture to the world, because it isn't just about the sport, it's about all the vibes.
Yeah.
And it's about all the energy, and it's about the fun around the game and the oohs and ahs, and like I think we have something special here that we would love to see translated globally.
Yeah. I think that's the thing that captured me straight away coming over here. As soon as I started jumping into the games, whether it was the scrimmages on the Sunday, playing in the quarterfinals of the prelim tournament, the excitement of the game, the energy around the game, it's
tangible.
It's undescribable to someone from Europe.
Sure.
Playing in Europe, the vibe I've always found is quite negative, it's quite toxic.
Silent. Yeah.
Everyone is just trying to be almost overly competitive, but in a negative way of your teammates.
Yeah. That you really summed up our ethos here, is that like we welcome the competition. We want to see you at your highest level, but we also want it to be fun. We also want all the jeering and the other stuff to be done in kind of like a friendly way. And like, I say like we battle it out on the field and then we have a beer afterwards. And like that's the kind of energy we want to now grow.
It translates as well, because like you just feel it. The moment you're on the pitch and playing, you don't feel that pressure of, I can't do this, I can't worry about losing the ball here. It's, no, go, try
go for it.
If you try it too many times, we might say something to you.
But nutmeg that guy in the penalty box. Do that flick in your half of the field. Like, go for it, man.
Exactly. Like, just be yourself, like express yourself. This is your platform to do your thing.
And I think that that's what I've found is that, like, we live in a world that's increasingly scrutinized. Like, you know, everyone has a camera in your face. Yeah. Everyone is always capturing every single moment. And like, what that does is it feels like you're constantly being like, you're constantly being critical of yourself, and you don't get a chance to fully express yourself. And we try to put that aside and say like, hey man, when you're on the field, express yourself, go for it, try that dribble, you know, take that shot. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but sometimes you produce a moment of magic that will be talked about for years.
Exactly, and that's what it's all about. That's what content in general is supposed to be about. And again, it's fun. It's a game. Yeah. At the heart of football and all the organised competition around the world, originally it's still a game. Like, it should be enjoyed as it should be. Yeah, and I mean, that's why I want to take a moment to mention the Panenka Football League, which is what we just tried out. We didn't even know if people would understand the rules, if people would show up. We got 24 teams within 24 hours. Yeah. So, of course, now that we know there's interest, we were able to execute, I think it was 52 games over a 2-week period. And then the last one we did, a big shout out to the commentators and the whole team that made it possible. We were able to live stream it. A pretty professional live stream at that. It was really, really impressive.
We were impressed. We were like, okay.
I got home for the final and turned it on the TV and started watching it at home as well. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is, I'm really seeing the vision now. It's all coming together. Like, the setup was very, very cool. Sure.
Thank you, man. And like, what's really cool about it is like, these things happen where Justin and I are having a conversation. Okay, we write it down on paper. All right, we make a few phone calls, and then you see this thing come to life, and in that moment you yourself are wowed because you're like, whoa, yeah. I didn't know if it would work or not, but it's working.
I think you guys are really onto something special here. I mean, like Justin has said in the past, and I'm sure there's going to be a podcast episode with Justin as well, where we really go into the details of the Panenka Football League as it gets closer to its official start date. But it's been influenced by tournaments such as Kings League, Baller League, Icon League, but it's adding that Bajan flair onto it that's really like just amplifies the 100%. Excitement, really adds a spin that no one else has seen before. I mean, some of the switch-ups that you guys have introduced, like, it looks like it's come straight off the streets, which is where it's originated from. It's where it should be.
Everyone that has played up here and continues to play it up here played this format at some point in time. It wasn't by any kind of grand design. It was like, we have a can available, we have a ball available, and so these are our rules, you know? And like, getting nutmegged, or what we call salads, is like the ultimate disgrace, right? Like, you don't want that to happen to you. So when that ball goes between your legs, like, you know, you drop your head in shame and walk off. And so like, what it does is it has this kind of visceral connection to people's childhoods, and that what it felt that first time you got salads.
The nostalgia effect of bringing back all those childhood memories at the same time. It brings the childhood game out of it. And that's what we were going for, man. Like, and we're really happy that the players got it, the referees got it, the fans got it immediately without too much explanation. It was just like, oh yeah. Yeah, I remember this.
You remember this. Yeah. So, I mean, and that's where we're at now. Like, I think the opportunity we see ahead of us is like, I know we talk about money in sports, but the reality is the world we live in, finance plays a big role in everything you want to do. Like, we were able, with our network and our friends, to pull something together, but to continue it, we have to add a layer of finance to it in order to make it sustainable. Also, to properly compensate people for their time and efforts. Like, you know, the commentary team, they did that pro bono, but they were excellent. You know, we were granted a few things, and the players, they all came out of their own accord, and, you know, they have busy days, they have other matches. I think there was one team who came and played, did training, and then came back to play in later matches, right? Wow, okay. So, like,
commitment levels are there.
Commitment levels are there. We're fully aware and acknowledging everyone's efforts to make it what it is, and we want that to grow, man. So, I mean, sponsors, we're reaching out to you. We're looking at you. We want you to be a part of this process of building out the Panenka Football League.
And now's the time to be involved, because when it's at its earliest phase, that's when you get the most exposure out of 100%. It. As a sponsor, you want to be involved with something before it becomes cool.
The big, yeah. Yeah, that's what, I mean, we've positioned ourselves to be, the T20 of football, which is T20 is the party side of the cricket game. And we want to do that with football. We want to bring football to the masses in a way where even if you are not a football enthusiast, you will enjoy that. You will say, hey, that goal was top tier.
Yeah, exactly.
That dribble was really cool. What you ask the question, what is that rule again? The Yankee PK? And, you get into it in a way where, 11-a-side football, I love it. But it can be a little bit drab at times for the non-footballers, right?
It's a dry sport now.
Sure.
The way the game has evolved, as a purist, I can appreciate the tactical evolvement 100%. And everything that comes with it. As a fan, as like a casual fan, right? It's boring.
It can be. And, even over the course of the 90 minutes, how many of us watched that full 90 minutes without peeping down at our phones?
Exactly, that's it. It doesn't make you glued to the screen like it used to. Back in the day, as a child, you'd grow up glued to everyone waiting for Ronaldo to touch the ball again. Yeah. Whereas now it feels like it lacks that sensationalism and it lacks the individuality of it that made you want to just keep watching all the time.
I think growing up in the 90s, these guys were larger than life.
We were spoiled.
The
amount of talent that every team had.
Every team, every position, everyone brought their own individuality to the game. And I think now what we see is a lot of copies and a lot of people trying to do things which, there's nothing wrong with emulating, but there is something wrong when it really isn't who you are. And you really see that side of the game where people get coached or that they themselves lose that flair. And, that rigidity isn't fun to watch.
It's not, and that's it. It might be successful, but
sure.
it's a spectator sport at the end 100%. Of the day, and you have to take care of the punters, the people that are turning up and watching and paying money to watch. So it just comes down to one of those things where...
But I go back to this again, problems and opportunities. That's where the opportunity for us is. We are going to bring the excitement, the pace, the flair, the fun back into the game in a shorter format that people could digest and enjoy. And
you've seen it already, even just from the prelim tournament.
Sure.
The amount of clips you get from the goals of the week. And
100%.
It's that's 1 week of football and you're seeing screamer after screamer going in every type of goal possible.
Yeah.
The dribbles, insane. You've got the amazing salads moments where you're getting players kicked off the pitch for getting humiliated on the pitch. And again, it's the right blend of fun and sport. Yeah. And I think it's the one thing that some of these other tournaments are missing. You look across to Europe where they've got Baller League, for example, and that's been getting a lot of negative press from the casual fan in England just because it just feels there's a slight disconnect between what you're watching and how you used to grow up playing. And I think that's what you guys have really done well to capture it.
Yeah, we're starting from, as you'd say, ground level and come up. And we want feedback from players. We want feedback from fans.
Yeah.
We want to be able to tweak as we go. As I mentioned before, no one person has all the answers or all the ideas. But when you're able to work together and collectively, pour your passion into a project, what comes out is larger than the sum of its parts.
And it's amazing when you get that culmination of a mixing pot of ideas, how suddenly 2 or 3 ideas that people weren't really sure on, you take the best parts of all those ideas and suddenly you've got that gold mine that takes it to the next level.
One thing I try to do a lot is and it may not come across about this way, but sometimes I could be a negative person in the sense of you hear an idea and you're like, oh, that won't work, or how will people respond to it, or would anyone even like it? But when it came to this particular project, I tried to change that and say, you know what, let me just say yes. Let's try it.
Yeah.
If we try it and it doesn't work, we could always remove it. But let's see. And, it all worked. And it reminds me, in everything I do, I should be more a rational optimist.
Yeah. A little bit more optimistic. Instead of saying no straight away.
Yeah.
Let me hear about it. Tell me about it. How does it work?
Sure.
Then figure out from there, is it possible to actually make it happen?
Yeah, man.
How did the idea for Panenka Football League come about? I know Justin's told me there's a bit of a funny story with you guys and some alcohol.
Well, there's all good things over way too many beers. But no, we've played football going on 3 decades now, and it's always been focused on kind of what we call bragging rights, right? So like, who got the most dribbles, who got the most audacious goal, you know, who was a strong defender that nobody could get past. And so after our regular games, there's always that discussion. Yeah. There's always that like, well, you know, I did this or that or the other. And we kind of like thought about it for a second, and we were like, wait a minute, like we aren't capturing any of this. Yeah. And there's no real official stats around like, did you actually silence that guy 2 times? Did you actually score a bicycle screamer from the halfway line? Like, so we were like, maybe we should actually form some media around this and like capture those moments. And so that was kind of the beginning of the idea, having a couple beers, and then we had, so I actually live in Trinidad at the moment, so I kind of fly in, and Justin called me one afternoon and he was like, yo bro, I have this idea for Panenka Football League. Now here's what I'm thinking. You know, we were chatting about this, and you know, I was like, initially no, and then I was like, let's do it. So my mind said no, and my mouth said let's do it. And next thing I knew, I was on a plane flying down. We were hosting the first game. The 24 teams had signed up, and we were just like, oh, we were actually doing it, and it was great. And so like, I think it's just a combination of having the right people, the right conversations, and then actually going forward and executing. And
most importantly, having the facility to do it.
Let's not discredit the Oasis. It does help when you have a football pitch in your backyard.
And I will say, in terms of like look, aesthetic, and just space in general, it's perfect for what the idea is. Again, it feeds back to that kids growing up 100%. Playing street football. It's not an overly, let's say, embellished arena. You're seeing some of these leagues now investing millions into creating these super advanced, perfect leagues, but that's not what people resonate with, because no one's really grown up playing in that environment. It's the people that are playing and taking part, and most importantly watching, this is what they resonate with. This is what brings them back to their childhoods and make them think their backyards, playing football in the garden. Like, I remember having a gazebo in my backyard and I used to take the cover off the gazebo and just be left with the wooden frame. And I was like, that's a goal.
That's a goal word.
And I used to smash it to pieces, much to my mum's annoyance, just taking holes out of it by pelting the ball at it over and over again.
Well, that's similar to us. We used to play in this yard, and then we would stop. We'd go grab mangoes from the tree, and a coconut might fall down. We'd get some coconut water, and like that was our like electrolytes for the day, right? So, you know, it's super important for us to keep that vibe. You know, people sometimes say the vibes are off. The vibes were on. Yeah. And we want to keep that vibe going forward. And we want to keep it like, you know, fun and everyone like coming out and enjoying. And the moment that changes, then we'll change something too.
Pivot with it.
Yeah.
I think it's, again, similar to what I'm learning about the Bajan culture now with things like the crop over?
Crop over's coming up,
Yeah, so the whole carnival kind of aesthetic and party atmosphere, it really bleeds into local life here, doesn't it?
Well, I don't think there's any separation between liming, partying, fetting, and everyday life. Like, we want any excuse to celebrate life because it can be hard. Yeah. You know, like, let's not get it twisted. Barbados is a paradise, but it comes at a cost. Yeah. And you know, most persons day to day, they have to struggle. They have to go out, find money, work hard. You know, situations are challenging, and then they need that ability to decompress for even if it's an hour on the field, an hour next to the field, come and hang out with some friends, and then get back to it. Right. So any chance we have to celebrate life and to fet, you know, we're going to take it.
And that's it. I think that really does just translate to the product that obviously you guys have put together now as well.
Yeah.
So tell me your initial reactions. Obviously it was it Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday night.
Saturday we had the culmination, the ending of the preliminary tournament. Let me get your first initial reactions.
First of all, I think I'm just proud. I am proud that we were able to do what we said we were going to do. I'm proud of all the players for coming out and like giving their best. Proud of all the support staff that I said helped with commentary. They helped with the medic care. All my staff at the Oasis were on hand. You know, I'm proud of like Justin and I for like completing this like vision. So from there now, like we're excited to like take it forward now. I think we have an energy, we have a momentum.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna be reaching back out to sponsors, we're gonna be reaching back out to different networks and seeing like if we could level it up between now and the World Cup and host another league.
And what's the, without too many spoilers, give an idea for what might come in the future with the league?
Well, I mean, now that we've tested the idea, the next thing will be to actually implement the 8-week league with the draft of 80 to 100 players. And the first 8 weeks, once we've completed that, we're in conversations to replicate the league in a few of the other islands, possibly a few international sites as well. And once those have been completed successfully, we're going to start doing an invitational travel league where, you know, the best of the best from New York, the best of the best from Toronto, the best of the best from Trinidad and Jamaica all assemble and show who's actually the best. And I think we have like a 3-year plan in which we're going to steadily build on. And one day you'll probably see us on ESPN or one of the big channels streaming and be like, I was there at the beginning of that. I played in that. I scored a goal in that.
Yeah.
And I think that would be a moment of pride for us again, where like we've taken Barbadian culture global.
I think that's such an important thing as well, that kind of national pride of having something that really doesn't just represent your interests, but it represents a whole country. Like
totally, man. Totally. And I think what's important for people to remember is that, like, although we are a small island, we have a huge impact globally. We have a huge diaspora that live all across the world.
Yeah.
Everyone always laughs and says, like, any country you go in the world, you'll find a Bajan.
Yeah.
And, like, it's important for us to have that touch point with the culture wherever we are.
Yeah.
And start for people to understand that culture is more than just a tagline or something trendy to hop on or hop off as you see fit.
Yeah.
It really is part of who you are. And you can showcase that daily in daily life, and you can showcase that on when you get an opportunity on the field. And that's what we are trying to showcase, who we are.
Now, I want to pivot back to the creation of the Oasis, because it's always been one of my dreams to build a self-contained football facility. Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit about the production of it. How long did it take to get it to, let's say, a playable starting point?
Let me backtrack a little bit. Like, I used to organize football for about 15 years. Yeah. Like I said, the pastures, various locations, etc. And that was challenging in itself, but it was pretty self-contained, right? Yeah, you were going somewhere else to play. Once I made the pivot to say, like, all right, well, it wasn't me. My mother was like, sure, you could use the backyard, begrudgingly. her only ask was that I build a bathroom so that you guys don't piss in the bush. So that was the first thing that went. It was a bathroom and then some lights. Once we started playing, this thing kind of was like a rock going down a hill. It just built so much momentum. Like, it went from 1 or 2 nights a week to every single day, every single night, every single hour that we were available, we were playing. And
did the surface start out as
just grass. Just real grass?
Yeah.
Unfortunate, with real grass, you need maintenance, and so we couldn't water it enough. There was no opportunity for it to rest.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. With the amount of
we were putting
playing on it.
We were putting 6 to 8 hours in the night on real grass, so it quickly turned to real mud.
Yeah,
and a bit of a dust bowl, and that was where the idea came from to say, like, all right, well, let's pivot from this. We put first of all, I approached the bank And I was like, hey, bank, me and my friends would like to build a football pitch. Could you give me some money? And they were like, no, absolutely not. So
what a surprise.
What a surprise. But, you know, they did teach me something about life.
How old were you quickly when you were doing this? So when you would have approached the bank, how old would you have been?
Maybe 25, 28.
Okay.
Yeah, somewhere in that range, 25 to 28. And they were like, you need a business plan.
Yeah.
And I need to get really tight with my numbers to understand that, like, this is moving from a hobby or something you're doing for fun to actually
Being
a business
yeah.
where you have debt and you have operating costs and you have legal fees and you have annual accounting and fiduciary duties and all these types of things. And so what I started with was very simple, like a journal.
Yeah. And
every single day, everyone that came to play would sign in.
Yeah.
And they would pay, at the time, $2.
Okay.
So they would sign and they would put $2. And over the course of a year, that book filled up, right? And the bank saw like, oh, wow, like this isn't too bad. This is not too shabby, right? And so the initial loan they gave me was $300,000, which I put towards a concrete surface, a rubberized field, new bars, new lights, some other amenities, and then we got going from there. Once that took off in about 2015 or so, 2018, that window of time, I don't know, here in Barbados, we get these 10-minute hurricanes. Yeah. So it's like a torrential downpour with rain and wind.
We've been caught in a few of them already.
Oh, for sure. Well, you even saw on Saturday, we had a little bit of sprinkles.
That first video I put out, just hammering down around me.
So we get these 10-minute hurricanes. So imagine you're all geared up, you're ready to go play, you go on the field, and there's just like whoosh, raindrops on you. And so we were all huddling right here in this container at the time, and someone was saying like, oh man, you know, it'd be so cool if you build a roof. And so I was like,
light bulb moment. Oh
yeah, we can build a roof.
Yeah.
So, you know, that was the next evolution, was to understand the cost. As I mentioned, structural engineering. This roof is rated to withstand a Category 3 hurricane. Really? And what you see above ground is about that underneath ground.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty well designed. And so we built a roof. The economics of it would be starting to change. And we still wanted to keep the price as affordable as we could. So to facilitate that, we put solar panels on the roof, which helps generate electricity. Yeah. We also get paid for it, and it helps subsidize the cost a little bit. And then we covered the rubber field with artificial turf. This allowed us to then open up like a whole new possibility of playing in any weather, 24/7, you know, proper lighting, even some protection from the sun. I don't know if anyone's ever played football at midday in Barbados. It's quite hot.
We have the same problem in Malta. When it gets to, I'd say, May through till September.
Sure.
In the middle of the day, 10 to 4. It is 35 degrees, and if you're out in the sun for longer than an hour,
you'll be dehydrated.
You will be struggling.
Yeah, so that was our philosophy. We wanted it to play whenever we could play. We wanted to play, and so then that evolution happened. And just as I was getting ready to build in 2020, COVID hit.
Oh, of course,
everything went to zero. So all the work we had done over the years to prove to the bank that this was a viable business, they got another insight to see that, well, you know, this global pandemic could cause it to grind to a halt. So we had to pause throughout that period. And during that time, we spent a lot of time thinking through, like, how would this work? How can we actually, you know, make it viable? And we were able to add certain elements like, as I mentioned, the solar. We have some merchandise. Yeah. We started to connect with some other players globally and see what they did. We have a small bar. So we kind of diversified our income streams a little bit. And then now we're trying to add media to that, where we're going to be live streaming the games and showcasing, you know, the goals of the week and all this kind of other elements. So it kind of pivoted. And then we kind of got ramped back up in about 2022. And from that day till now, like we play football 7 days a week. In fact, in probably another 30 minutes, some guys are going to show up to start to play. And like I said, it's taken on a life of its own.
I think the one thing I will say that COVID probably impacted positively for you guys is when you have something taken away for so long.
Good point, yeah.
As soon as you're allowed back out, that hunger to like, oh man, I've not played with the boys in so long, I'm going to be there every day because we don't know what's going to happen next week, next month.
I had a little bit of internal anxiety that I had spent decades of my life building this thing, and I didn't know if anyone was going to show back up.
Yeah.
But as soon as like they lifted all the different things and
you put out that little message,
back out the message, hey, we're open, immediately.
Yeah.
Everyone came back out, and you know, to their credit, I think people get a lot more from this than just the football.
Yeah.
You know, they get the community, they get to unwind, they get to see people they haven't seen in a while. I mean,
like you said, with the bar and everything, it almost creates like, I know in England, obviously, there's that huge pub culture of people going down and just meeting up with people that you don't necessarily have their phone numbers or you're not necessarily...
You don't even know their names.
Friends outside of the venue.
Yeah,
but
you know people by their name.
You know they're going to be there every night. You know they're going to be there at a regular time. I'll come down. Hey, man.
Yeah. And I think we call it in the Caribbean third space.
Yeah.
Right? You know, it's a place for people to go and, you know, it doesn't really have too much structure or context around it, but you know, if you go there, you'll see a familiar face, or you'll meet a new friend.
Exactly.
And that's what we really enjoy.
I'm so impressed with how many, let's say, friendly faces I can put now just from turning up the odd few occasions. Yeah. And it's just like you say hello to a few people, you start playing on the field after the game, you're laughing, you're making jokes. Oh yeah, I'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Same people, same crowd, you turn back up and
man.
Again, you're friends now at that point, and it just makes the game, the vibe, so much more enjoyable.
And I think as we increasingly roll into this like technological world, where you have a lot of online spaces and a lot of online faces, and you know it's just like everything's online, that being in real life with people kind of matters more than ever, and actually having a conversation with a real person, picking up the vibe or the energy from a person. You know, sometimes people are dealing with some stuff and they need that. They need to get out that frustration, be positively influenced by others instead of just being in their room and just like, you know, letting that fester. So I think that's what I think is a really important byproduct of all this is helping with people's mental health and wellness, to not feel so isolated. I think like we live in some of the most connected times, but we could feel very disconnected at times.
London's very bad for that.
Sure.
As big as the city is, and as much as everything's going on around you, if you're new to London and you haven't already set your roots there, like you can feel very isolated in such a big space.
Yeah,
and you really do just end up isolating yourself into a tiny little space and not really wanting to mix with people because, again, the vibe just isn't really that friendly in London compared to somewhere like a tropical paradise where the sun's always out, people are always outside enjoying, and it's nice. The friendly feel I get from being here has already improved my mood.
There you go.
Tremendously compared to how I feel when I'm in London.
Yeah, man, we're happy to have you, and we want to welcome everyone to come down to Barbados and recharge and understand that like there's more to life than work and hustle. Every now and then you have to play. Yeah.
I've already got a few friends back home messaging me like, damn, what's that you're doing? That looks fun. I'd like to come out and do that. It's like, oh, you might be able to soon.
Yeah, someday soon.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing how things progress. And obviously I'm here now for the next 3 months. So I'm going to be helping out as much as I can and hopefully adding to the media highlights. And
it's been great having you, man.
Yeah, I'm just trying to add a little bit of my knowledge and expertise into areas that can potentially help you guys as well.
No, we appreciate it. Like I said, this was built by us for us, and we've expanded our us to include anyone that's willing to support, anyone that has an idea that they want to, you know, they think we could do something better, they think we could improve, like, come on and help us do it. Like, we, you know, one hand can't clap. Yeah. So everyone
It is a collaborative effort here, and the more people that get involved, and like you mentioned, if sponsors can come and obviously just give that financial muscle that you need to take it to the next level, then the sky really is the limit. You're going to see it branch out very quickly because the whole atmosphere of it is something that isn't getting replicated anywhere else around the world, where you see the likes of the competitors at the moment. It's official, it looks very competitive and professional, but it doesn't give you that same vibe that you get here.
Yeah, I think like that's what excites us the most. We know we have something special, so we're happy to see where it goes.
Rohan, it's been a pleasure having you on. I think we can call it there, and I'm sure there'll be much more footage coming out along the line with Justin, with yourself, and the rest of the Panenka Football League as it continues to grow. Where can people find you online?
Yeah, so you could look for us at Find The Oasis on Instagram, Panenka Football League on Instagram, Panenka Football League on YouTube, and I think all the other socials as well. But most importantly, you could come out and see us live. So we're located in Kendall Hill, Christchurch, Barbados. If you're flying in, you'll see us from the sky. And if you are from Barbados, you already know where we are. So just come out, have a good time, and be part of the community.
Amazing. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks.
And I'm sure you're going to see a lot more from us.
Good man.